Tropical storm Elsa was responsible for at least 2 deaths as the storm passed Hispaniola and the Lesser Antilles. Now, having passed Cuba completely, we are looking for a landfall in Florida, somewhere in southern Florida, in the next 24 hours. There are some reasons to believe that this storm will weaken, but still could go back up to a hurricane status before it makes landfall. It's not completely likely, but somewhat possible that somewhere around this point in the next, let's say, 12 to 18 hours, that the storm could intensify a little bit. And I'll show you a little bit about why that is, and then a few reasons why the storm won't hold together or last long, and why this track will continue toward Florida. So right now we're looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds sustained, with some increases in the forecast up to 70 miles per hour, and that is local time at the storm by 8 p.m. on July 6th. So that's coming up tomorrow. And now there is a batch of activity already separate from Elsa over Texas that is playing a role in some of the rip currents and tides that are going on already along the Gulf of Mexico through the panhandle of Florida, where a boy was swept away today near Panama City Beach. And so that is something to keep in mind, that this storm is growing and converging with other weather systems. Now here at the sea surface temperatures, anything that is orange is what is really conducive for hurricanes, around 30 degrees Celsius, but anything over 29 in the green will still support the development and perpetuation of these types of storms. This blue here, the cooler water, is really going to weaken the storm somewhat for what it's worth. There's also a couple other factors here, like the moisture available. There already is a lot of moisture going in over Florida. Anywhere green and white is a lot of mid-level moisture. The yellows are where there's some dry air, somewhat ridging over the system already, but not really getting involved in what's going to be passing Florida. So we can expect for very rainy conditions here. But the storm is going to also intersect some additional wind shear once we see that it's getting closer to where that sea surface temperature is also cooler. So then there are two indications that there'll be some weakening about this point. So the strongest the storm gets will probably occur somewhere between this point and this point, which is between the 6th and 7th of July. And so we'll look ahead at that coming in the next few days, just how strong the storm gets before landfall. But at any rate, we're going to be expecting there's going to be some power lines knocked down, some trees knocked down, and any of that can get very deadly and dangerous fast. So here we're looking at the steering winds, a level that kind of helps decide where storms might be moving to. So going back to where we are right now, it looks like there's already some energy at this mid-level going to the northeast, and then some that is continuing in toward the Gulf. So finally this storm is kind of splitting off from what was driving it to the northeast, about to take a turn, and then in the next day into 2 days we'll be seeing this curve across Florida. So this is the European model here, and now some of the other models were just slightly different, but most of them are in agreement that this track will take something very similar to that. So another thing here is there's a lot of lightning going on, mostly with the storm that I was talking about over Texas. Florida doesn't have as deep of the convection as what's going on over Texas right now, so it's a little less lightning, but there is quite a bit of activity that's going to be colliding with the rest of this storm. So I'll be going into some more products as the days go on here with this storm, because whatever converges here between these two could make things a little more intense. There's plenty of moisture available, so that's one of the big drivers here. And then any differentials, any major vorticity regions. So there's a few reasons to believe that there will be some more wild weather in the days to come. Luckily, not a major landfall, but this is still something to be very careful about. Looking down at one of the products here for the National Hurricane Center, before I sign off, I will show the wind speeds. Well, first of all, the rain is really probably one of the bigger factors here, that there is likely going to be about 6, could even be 10 inches of rain in some portions. We're looking near Clearwater, especially along the peninsula of Florida on its western end, where we're going to be seeing the interaction with the northeastern portion or quadrant of the storm. So that's where a lot of the moisture is going to be produced. And another thing to look at here is the wind speeds, is not just the history, but I want to see the wind speed probabilities, because anything in the purple is a 90% chance or higher of hurricane force winds. So zooming in on this, right now the projections by the National Hurricane Center are that the hurricane force winds are most likely going to stay off of land, but there's still going to very likely be wind gusts that are as strong as a Category 1 hurricane. And that's where anybody in a mobile home may want to find somewhere else to seek shelter during the passage of these storms, especially once you get close to those central wind speeds and the center of rotation is getting closer to land. If you're living in these regions, just make sure you have a plan, especially in case things do end up getting a little stronger, which is not likely but could happen. Another one not likely to get much stronger is 7. So this is going to be hitting Taiwan. And if you want some more global updates, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. You can also find me on other social medias that are in the description, because I'm also sharing pictures of aurora right here. This is the AE index related to space weather. So there have been some solar storms going on. We're kind of ramping up with our solar cycle here, and it does have an effect on our weather here on Earth. So I've been studying this in school, and you'll be able to see a sunspot region here that has some filament eruption going on and some more flares. So if you want to learn more about this, go ahead and you can look on my channel for videos related to space weather also, or on Facebook I started a group called Space and Earth Weather, where I'm sharing more about this and giving exact details of how this interacts with our GPS and messes it up, or might cause geomagnetic storms or increase lightning, or like this AE index, allowing us to forecast aurora. So enjoy your day, and I hope everybody can get through Elsa safely. This is luckily not, a major landfall, but there's still a lot of rainfall to watch out for. There are still going to be damaging winds that can fall on top of vehicles, fall on top of homes, and that's where we see the most deaths with the storms related to tropical storm force winds.